We're going to go ahead and take a look at number 49 from section 10.3. And 10.3 is the discriminant in equations that can be written in quadratic form. 49 reads as x plus 1 is equal to 20 over x. So one of the first things that we can do here is we can attempt to make this look like a quadratic. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to subtract 20 over x from both sides of the equation. And that's going to allow me to clear the right-hand side. And this is going to give me x plus 1 minus 20 over x is now equal to 0. If you recall, when we are solving quadratic equations, we want our quadratic equations to equal 0. And bear in mind that this is one way that you can start to solve this problem. Okay, so one of the next things that we're going to do, as we had demonstrated in class, is go ahead and expose the denominators if you need to see them. Okay, by exposing the denominators, you kind of are able to expose all the information that you need in order to make the best decision possible to continue this problem. So notice that your denominators are 1 and x. So what's the least common denominator between 1 and x? Go ahead, pause the video, think about it if you need to. Okay, so hopefully you were thinking, well, the common denominator is x. So that means I'm going to multiply each term by an x. And again, for consistency's sake, I'm showing this to you especially even on the right-hand side, because so that you understand the full detail and that I am being consistent with every term. So I'm going to multiply every term by an x. Ideally, I want to do this because if you notice in the third term, the x in the denominator will cancel out with the x in the numerator. And now my denominator is just 1 all the way through, so I really don't have to worry about it. So my first term is going to be x squared plus my second term, which is x, minus my third term, which is now just 20. And then in this case, x times 0, or the term that I have on my right-hand side, that's just 0. And by kind of manipulating this problem around, I actually made a quadratic. So you guys can go ahead and hit this with your quadratic formula if you would like. Maybe some of you noticed that you can factor this. So if you notice, I can go ahead and set up my two parentheses to represent my two binomials. I can break up that x squared into an x and an x. And then I want to essentially take a look at this negative 20 that I have over here. And I want to ask myself, what numbers will multiply to give me a negative 20, but will add together to give me a positive 1? So context clues, since this value is negative, one of my values will be plus, the other will be minus. And I'm thinking maybe 5 times 4. So 5 times 4 gives me 20, so maybe a positive 5 times a negative 4 will give me negative 20. And also, you can do a quick FOIL to make sure that I did do that correctly. So the last thing, we know that x plus 5 times x minus 4 is equal to 0. So what can you tell me then about those two quantities that I have bracketed? X plus 5 could be the number that's equal to 0, or x minus 4 could be the number that's equal to 0. So we finish by solving for x. So x could be negative 5, or x could be positive 4. And there are your two solutions. If you're not sure, you can always plug them back into the original equation and solve.